I've been working on this Flutter project for a while now, and it was sitting on a private server, and I decided to push it to GitHub because I want people to have access to it if they want to see some of my projects. Now, here is the issue. Before I did the push, I forgot to put the .env file into Git ignored. So GitHub has detected some sensitive data and it prevented me to push to the branch. When I did the push and I realized when GitHub came back with the error and I made the changes, I put the .env file into Git ignore, I was still getting this error message no matter what. Now, this error message happens when GitHub detects that you want to push, you're pushing or you're trying to push sensitive data on GitHub. Now, if you made the changes, if you put the .env file into git ignore and you're still getting this message, that means you did not clear the commit history. You have to clear the history before you make another push. Clearing the history does take some steps. It's a really complicated thing to do for a lot of people. I followed a lot of the steps online. I used the GitHub docs and I went through most of the commands step by step and nothing was working. There are a couple tools you can use to fix this problem. Now, the first one is Git. I think it's called filter branch. I'll find the right name and put it up on the screen. But this tool is a little bit dangerous, so GitHub recommend that you use git filter repo instead of filter branch, right? So what I end up doing was using PowerShell to download some tools to fix this problem. So I opened up PowerShell and there are some tools that you need to download in order to download this package properly. Now, if you have used Python to download this package, the Python environment will be in a different place for some people. When you're trying to run it into Visual Studio, you will come across a lot of issues and they cannot find the right folder for Python, they cannot find the right directory or the right location for the git filter repo file. So this is what worked for me, and I'm using Windows. If you're using Mac, it's a little bit different. To solve this problem, you need a tool called git-filter-repo, and getting this to work on your system it's a little bit complicated based on which terminal you're using. I did use git bash to download this tool and it did not work for me. The only thing that worked for me on Windows was using PowerShell. So the first thing you want to do is download this tool. But if you run scoop for the first time, it will give you this message saying the term scoop is not recognized. That means you do not have scoop on your system. So you need to download scoop. So in order to download scoop, you have to run this command first. This command just changed the security rules, right? So Windows want to make sure you're not running any type of script on the system. Once you run this command, then you're going to run this command to download scoop. Once you run this command, it will say scoop was installed successfully. So then you want to go ahead and use scoop to install git-filter-repo. Once you finish downloading this, it will say git-filter-repo has installed successfully. Then you want to run this command, scoop install git. Once that is installed, if you want, you can download Python. So you can say scoop install Python. Once you finish inside of PowerShell, you're going to go inside of your C drive and then you go into users and your name. And once you're inside of this folder or inside of your name folder, you're going to see a folder called scoop. You're going to double click and go inside of this folder. Then double click and go into the apps folder. Inside of the apps folder, you will see git-filter-repo. You're going to double click on that. And then you're going to see the version. Double click on the version and go inside of that folder. Once you're inside of this folder, you're going to see some hidden documents, hidden files, and other files. Scroll down until you see git-filter-repo. Now there is two files that have the same name, but one is a Python file, and the Python file is git_filter_repo. You do not want this file. You do not want the Python file. You want the git-filter-repo. So we're going to double click on this file to open it up. It's going to ask you which app you want to open up this file with. I'm going to choose Notepad and hit just once. When you're inside of this file, you're going to change the shebang. Now, if you open the file for the first time, you would see Python 3. This is what's causing the problem to run the git-filter-repo, because it's looking for a Python 3 file. So if you haven't set your environment to use Python 3, most people are using Python, you would have to change the shebang to Python. If your environment is Python 3, then you leave it as Python 3. If it's not, if your environment is Python, then you have to change it from Python 3 to Python. So if you're having problems and you open up this file and you see a 3 at the end of Python, that means your environment is running on Python and not Python 3. So remove the 3 after Python in the shebang, and then you're going to save it and close the file. Once this is done, you're going to go back into Visual Studio. Then you want to make sure that you're on the right branch. So if we look at the bottom here, I'm on master. Right, you want to make sure that you're on the right branch you want to push your stuff into, so either main, master, whichever one. So in order for you to change, you're going to use the git checkout. So git checkout and the branch that you want to push your to. So once you already into the branch that you want to upload to, we have to clear the cache. We have to clear the commit history. And to clear the commit history, we're going to use git-filter-repo. And you want to tell git-filter-repo to remove the history or remove the commit history to the .env file. Now, if this does not work, you have to use the --force option. And if we look here, it would say aborting, and it says to make a fresh clone. So I want to bypass this step because I don't want to clone I don't have anything to clone. So I want to bypass this step, and I'm going to use the --force to remove the data. I use back the same command. I still want to remove the data for the env file, but instead I use --force. So make sure you have the space in between the dash and also a space just before the .env. So once you do that, it will now remove the commit history. As you see here, it says now repacking and cleaning up. It's going to remove all that previous commit history. Once you finish removing the history, now you can make a fresh push to GitHub by using git push -u origin -force -all. So if you use this command without the force and you're getting some error message, just go ahead and use --force. So this is how you will fix that error message you were getting when you try to push sensitive data onto GitHub and you're getting the repository role violations. Hope you have learned something from this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I will see you in the next video.